And Kylie, you're recording?
Yep, we're recording to the cloud, and we just went live as well.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. So, everybody who's just piling in, we've gone live now, and you're here for the Digital Summer Clinic information session. And we have a whole variety of exciting guest speakers, many of whom you see on screen with me right now. And we'll get to introducing those folks in a minute. So don't worry, they're not going to go unintroduced forever. Um, and our goal here today is to kind of give you a thumbnail of what is going on with the summer clinic internship, um, how you can get a clinic internship, what a clinic internship is like. Is it even desirable for you? We think so, but we're going to try and show you some features today to let you know. And then a chance to talk with many of the participants, including mentors, past interns, and then companies that actually participate in the clinic. So, kind of a full roundabout show here. And so I know we're kind of still in the process of letting people in. It just turned 4:01, so we won't get the main part of the show running for another couple 3 minutes. Give everybody a chance to pile on in, and we will also be posting this um, to our Facebook page and then also our YouTube channel. And Kylie, we're gonna link it in digitalsummer.clinic under videos, right?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Okay, so it looks like the uh, the webinar is kind of slowly filling out here. Oh wow. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so we won't wait too long. And if there's part of this that you want to go back and see, like I say, we're going to post it a number of slots and it will be posted on digitalsummer.clinic. So let's get this show on the road and then folks will pour in as they will. And so, okay. So first off, rules of the road. We're going to take questions as you've got them. Feel free to ask plenty of questions. Use the little Q&A button that you see down at the bottom of the webinar window. That's the best way. You can also send us questions in chat. That will work too. And we're just going to address them as the meeting goes on. Okay, so let me introduce our two main speakers. I'm Bud Gibson. I'm the director of the Digital Summer Clinic. And I am going to be kind of getting things kicked off. And if you want to find out more about the Digital Summer Clinic, go to digitalsummer.clinic. And then we also have events, and we're going to post these in chat, these URLs. We have events at bit.ly/CDE-events. So we're going to put all of that in chat so you don't have to worry about spelling it out or quickly copying it off the screen, and it'll get you there. So the clinic site is where you go. It's got all sorts of information about the clinic, what past interns did, testimonials. We've got videos. We've got videos of some of the past clinic companies up there. And CDE events, well, this is one of those events we're doing right now to talk about the clinic. And we're going to be holding them. In fact, we're even going to be doing an impromptu digital live from our Facebook page tonight at 6, where we're going to be interviewing Kylie Gilligan, who goes for these webinars by the name of Digital Summer. We're going to be interviewing Kylie Gilligan tonight about all of the events we have coming up. It's just going to be a fun little romp. Next week, we're going to have, on the 11th, we're going to have Jamie Ferguson from Domino's, who should be showing up shortly. I just saw a little text shoot across my screen. And Andrew Brockman, who works for a law firm for Bone, and they're going to be talking about how they got their jobs after working in the clinic and the exciting things that they're up to now. So that's me, and that's sort of where we are. Then we have Kylie Gilligan. And Kylie is the co-host, and she's a CDE field manager. She's our TikTok wrangler. We have this experimental new TikTok channel that we got started up. And Kylie had the first post, and then Eric Harp, who you'll meet in just a few moments, had our second post. And she was a intern last summer, went through the whole experience, has done great things since, and she's a PR major, expected 2021 grad. Now, I put expected, I mean, it's near certain, but of course, I guess you have to say expected until the person actually does get on there. So say a little hello for us there, Kylie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
And Kylie is going to be running the second half of the show here. So I'm going to hop right in, and I'm going to start talking about what the clinic is. Okay. And so, well, before I talk about what the clinic is, we are going to do that, but I'm going to tell you what the agenda is. So I'm going to talk about what the clinic is. I'm going to give you sort of the basic overview. Okay. Then we're going to hop on to the mentoring team, and then and we'll meet each of them, and they have two questions we're going to ask them, which Kylie composed, and I'm being very careful to remember what they are. And then we're going to start getting into the CDE field team, which is, as you're applying for the clinic, another couple of folks that you're going to interact with a lot, potentially. And then the intern experience, where I see we have John Rodriguez, who's just joined us. And John, it would be great if you turned on your video camera, because right now we're just seeing a blank little screen that says John Rodriguez across it. And so he's going to be one of the interns talking. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. One of the interns talking about the intern experience. And then we're going to move on to the company experience. Now, any questions that we have left over, we're just going to answer those in Q&A. So feel free to ask questions at any time. And if we've got the panelists still up there talking, we'll ask them, while we're in that section. But if it comes later, that's fine too. We'll just loop on back. Now, before we proceed ahead, I'm going to look at this. And we have one final panelist who's joining us who asked if she could hop on in 5 minutes, if that was okay. So expect one more. I just wrote back that it is. I don't know if I really had a choice. So she'll be hopping aboard. So that's great. All right. So now I'm actually going to talk about what is the clinic. Okay. So in a nutshell, the clinic is a 9-week, 90-hour mentored internship. So that means 10 hours per week. It's part-time. It runs from mid-June. And so think of it as starting on or about June 15th. Typically a Monday that's near to that date. And then ending on or about August 15th, typically a Friday that's near that date. Okay. We make it part-time because we realize that most EMU students, in fact, most students we're dealing with, are working their way through school right now, and they don't necessarily want to give up their full-time job to do an internship. So we've kind of tailored this 10 hours a week for you so that you can kind of fit it in with your other activities. Now, that said, there are often opportunities to expand your hours within the internship. So let's say that that's 10 hours guaranteed, and it could expand out, and it quite often does. I would say in somewhere between a quarter and a third of the cases, it does within the clinic. So 10 hours kind of basic starter. And that's because Ann Arbor Spark picks up the tab on the 90 hours for its incubator clients. So I brought in Spark. I said incubator. What does all of that mean? So we take 48 interns each year. We've done it for the past 2 years, and we place them with 24 companies. And we do the internship in partnership with the Ann Arbor Spark. Spark is an economic smart zone here in Washtenaw County. And so we work typically with their clients, which they refer to as being in their uh, incubator or accelerator. And in fact, one of the company we're going to be speaking with in just a moment is, or at least has been up to this date in their incubator. So there we are. I'm also, excuse me, I'm one of our people has wandered over to Skype. She's supposed to be here. I'm going to send her a note in a second to come on over to Zoom. But so back to Spark. And so we work with Spark, and we work with their largely with their client companies, and 24, and Spark picks up the tab for your pay working with those companies. And just not to make that too much of a mystery, pay last year was 15.51 an hour. We expect it to be that or higher, likely higher. This summer goes up every year. It's never gone down. And it's never stayed the same. So we expect it to be higher this year. And now the interns then work on a project developed by the company in collaboration with the mentoring team. So we're going to meet the mentoring team in just a second. But we interview, so we're going to, the interns that we hire, we will have interviewed all of you. Typically, we interview about 100 people each year, sometimes more, sometimes less. I think last year, there she is. I think last year we interviewed 116. Jamie Ward, didn't we interview 116? Were you?
That
I
sounds
think
about right.
I think Jamie was there for almost all of them, if not all of them. So 116. And so if you think about that, um, that means that if you get an interview, your chances are roughly 50-50 of being one of the 48 that we ultimately hire. And we had 36 companies applied last year to be in the internship, and we took 24 of them. Okay, so that then means that we put 2 interns with each company. You work as a team collaboratively together in the company. Although you may be working on different projects, you're still in there together and you have each other to bounce ideas off of. Okay. So another feature of that, so that's the internship, and that's kind of doing your job in a nutshell. Now, outside of the job, so this is outside stuff that we do outside of those 10 hours a week. We have 2 meetings. Okay, we have a cohort meeting, which is for 1 hour. And we call it the cohort meeting. And that's the first one. It's where interns present weekly progress to the mentoring team. Okay. And strangely enough, we'll have the interns talk about this, but actually, that is one of the things that when I talk with former interns, they come back and say was one of the more positive parts of the program. Okay. Um, they don't really diss any part of the program, but that's one of the ones that they come back and say, I really got something out of the cohort meeting. And then um, since last year, so that's a 1 hour meeting. And I think regardless of, we intend to be remote this year, but regardless in future years of whether we're remote or not, this one has worked out really well as a virtual meeting for a variety of reasons. So we will likely keep it as a virtual meeting. And then we have another hour a week that we call the all hands meeting with exciting guests. Okay, so I had to come up with a way to describe that one. And so I'm selling it. Now, the great thing about this is that we bring in all sorts of people from outside for you to network with. And when we're able to do this in person, we weren't able to last year, but perhaps at some point this year, we'll be able to do a couple of in-person ones. Then it will be kind of like a little evening get together. It's typically on a Thursday, a little evening get together where you have pizza and pop and hang out and then get to talk with the speaker. And so a chance for you to you know, kind of network and for all of us to get to know each other. But like I say, we're planning on a remote meeting, so in which case we will actually do that meeting remote. Um, and we did it last year and it worked pretty well, and we had great attendance. Okay, so that's what is the clinic. Okay, in a nutshell. Like I say, any questions you have, feel free to ask them. I'm not seeing anything pop up in the Q&A, which okay. Now, here are the mentors. You've met me. I am I'm sort of the founder of all of this. We kicked off the clinic back in 2015. And so I think there's two questions. And then, you know, we got it going. We had, I think, uh, uh, 12 students working with 6 companies, so dramatically smaller than it is today. We had 25 applications that year. Then, of course, I haven't done all of this by myself. We have a great mentoring team, and there's been some rotation in the mentoring team, but you know, I by far am the oldest person on the mentoring team. Everybody else is very young and dynamic. I will ask myself the Kylie's questions. So, well, why do I do this? Okay, or why are you a mentor? Or and then what kind of people do I look for? Okay, so why am I a mentor? Well, you know, it was clear to me, and we can go back to basically virtually everyone on here. It was clear to me that students at EMU in particular, but also other area institutions, the challenge that they face is how do I get from being a student to to getting a professional career? And that is kind of the answer because it depends on you. It depends on the circumstances. Typically, you're going to try a couple of things before you actually really figure out what have ideas what we want to do, then we start trying to do it. And then we discover, oh, I've got to change my idea because I really want to do something else. And or I really don't like this thing I thought I would love when I started studying it. And so the whole idea then in developing this and why I do it is I said, well, we got to give students a chance to kind of learn, and then we got to give them a chance to kind of talk about their experience and figure out what their next steps are. So all of this stuff around mentoring that we put into the clinic, that's really helping people figure out what their next steps are going to be. And then what do I look for in students? Well, I look for that student. So here's a key thing. They do an application. You do an application as a student, and I look at that statement of purpose and I say, okay, has this person gone and kind of looked at what it is we do, and then looked at what they do, and then come back and written me a 2-paragraph statement of purpose where they say, well, I can do this, and I see you do these kind of things, and I think I could slot in there. Now, there's a lot that goes into doing that, okay, but that to me is a real sign that you've got the preparation and you're motivated. And I would say motivating is kind of the more critical thing. Now, uh, that's me. Um, and that's what I look for why I'm into it. Um, and I'm just going to quickly look because we do have a question from Becca, and she's saying, I'd like to hear about the different roles that interns will have. I know that CDE works with College of Business a lot, but is a PR major. So, Jamie Ward, this is a great one for you, Professor of PR. I would be interested to hear about the different tasks that interns could possibly have. And well, the rest of this, don't worry, there's going to be a lot of that. And Kylie, aren't you? Kylie's a PR major. Okay, so she'll be able to speak to it too. Now, former student, current mentor, Eric Wortman. And so, Eric, introduce yourself. Tell us why you're doing this and what you look for in interns.
Sorry, you got one more time.
Okay, so who are you? And then why are you a mentor? And then what do you look for in interns?
My name is Eric Wortman. I currently work at Google. I'm a proud Eastern Michigan University alum. I think why I'm a mentor is I had a lot of great people help me out for my collegiate career, for my collegiate career, and through all the different companies that I work for. I think it's important to me to kind of give back a little bit and lend some help because I had a lot of assistance, and I really, really struggled with it. There's a lot of great talent, a lot of great students at Eastern. I want to do my best to kind of give them a little hand to connect them with a lot of the great companies located in Southeast Michigan and anywhere else. What I look for for a potential intern is just somebody that's really, really humble and hungry, wants to learn, knows that they don't, that there's a lot that they don't know yet, ask good questions, and is willing to work hard. Kind of step out of their comfort zone a little bit and see how they can work hard and progress their career. But again, I know it's always a scary thing. So I just like to really work with people that just ask a lot of questions and are curious to get feedback, because I think that's important. And that's really what helps us all grow and learn.
Okay, great. And as Eric mentioned, proud Eastern alum, he actually participated in something that was like the clinic before we had the clinic. And so, I'd like to call him a product of the clinic. He's more like a product of the pre-clinic. And then next to Eric, so Eric obviously from Google, but we don't just want to show Google love. We have Pinterest here in Jorel McCree, also a former student. And will be leading the Pinterest virtual tour at the end of this month. And so, Jorel, why don't you introduce yourself? Why are you doing this? And then what do you look for in interns?
Yeah, well, thank you, obviously, for the time to talk today and just to be on this panel. I am also a proud EMU alum. I work at Pinterest. I love marketing. I love digital. I think why I do it is I love it so much that even outside of my day-to-day job, I think there's so much other opportunities that exist within small businesses, and then even for students to go and learn just so many different tracks. So selfishly, I'm always excited to learn more about tech. So I think being able to work with students to help them learn more about tech is like mutually beneficial. But at the same time, I think there's so many different career paths. I'm just happy to be an ear or mentor to help students figure out their path. I think for me, also a product of the pre-clinic, that was one of the things that I found was most helpful about this clinic, where I was in a completely different industry. And I remember having very open conversations with Bud where I was like, I'm doing this, but I think I might want to change that up. And I think this type of internship is fundamental in helping you to make that decision. And I think if I had to look for something in interns, I think just being curious. I think passion for anything is good, and I think passion for digital in general. Just being curious about learning what it can do for whatever industry that you potentially want to go into, I think is a good trait, and just willingness to learn.
And we're kind of slowly, but thank you, Jorel. We're kind of slowly, but surely zeroing in on Becca's question, which was sort of like, well, you only take College of Business people, and Jorel bringing up, I want people who are curious. I think is kind of the first sign that we're not just saying, no, you got to be in a College of Business. And in a few moments, we're going to talk about the many different majors that we take into this. And part of that is I'm going to transition over to Jamie Ward. Now, I met Jamie, I guess, at this stage 4 years ago in 2017. It seems like just yesterday. I almost immediately recognized a kindred spirit. I recognized that she was trying to do for PR students what we were effectively trying to do in the clinic. And I thought, well, we could compete with each other, which is often a model in academic institutions. or we could join forces and be better together. Somehow I think that was somebody's slogan somewhere, better together or something like that. And so Jamie, introduce your, I gave you a little introduction, but that's just my little, keyhole view of your life. Give a little introduction and, why do you do this? And what do you look for in interns?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Ward, as Bud mentioned. I'm a professor in the PR program. I am not in the College of Business. I'm actually in the College of Arts and Sciences. So in Eastern Way, I'm across kind of campus from them. I have been doing this, like Bud said, for about 4 years. And I do it because the clinic is a great extension to the work I do in the classroom. I really enjoy working with students, helping them network and helping them really connect what they're doing, what they love to do. They're navigating those kind of different career experiences and really learning as they go. And the clinic allows me to consistently do that. So I keep coming back year after year because I like what it offers to students across the board. Qualities that I look for in interns, definitely go-getters, students who are ready to just jump in and willing to do and learn lots of different things, but also students that are problem solvers. Things are going to come up that you have to be able to figure out. So students that are willing to problem solve as well.
Okay, great. And I'll just point out, as Jamie alluded, we're doing even more than the clinic together. So Jamie has played a significant role in the digital marketing workshop, particularly this last one. She staffed a whole panel with, I think we called it digital culture or something like that, but it was basically nonprofits located in Detroit. And then we were also part of the student development conference, and so we're very much committed, and it's not just PR students and Jamie, as you'll see in a moment. We're very much committed to people from a wide variety of majors. And speaking of which, so Jamie is the communicator. I actually call her the Dean of Communications. And then we have Sufian Qrunfleh, who goes by Dr. Q, who is a supply chain professor. And I sort of think of him as Mr. Analytical. And so, Sufian, introduce yourself and, why are you doing this? Because some people might say, oh my gosh, supply chain, how does that even relate? You may have had that question yourself. And then, and then what do you look for in interns?
Yes, thank you for inviting me to this panel. Let me introduce myself. I'm, by the way, the interim department head for the marketing at the College of Business. I'm a professor in supply chain. I joined this clinic in 2019, so that is my 3rd year actually, being part of the mentoring team. And yes, believe it or not, my background is supply chain. So you don't have to be a public relation, you don't have to be in marketing to be part of this program or internship. The reason why I continue to join and being part of the mentoring team is like, I love students. I very passionate in teaching. When my first class that I teach students, I tell them I'm here to help you out and provide knowledge for you. So what does the mentoring team do to me and to the students is helping them connect what is, what you have learned in class and trying to help them out beyond the classroom. And that is, it's a totally different world there. So what you have taken in class, you may feel a little bit, not comfortable with what is out there. So I'm here to help you out, have a kind of a smooth transition from, the education role to the actually real world with the real business people. So that's why I do it. I love helping students. I love to connect them and, make the life much easier. And what I look for, you gotta be passionate about what you're doing. I mean, you're not doing it just for the sake of, oh, we have something to do in the summer. You really wanna be involved in this internship because it might be open up your career and it might be a first step that students always tend to struggle at the beginning. So we're here to help you out, so you gotta be doing it for the sake of really wanting to do it. and I gotta have nice personality and able to communicate. So those are the things that I look for in students.
Great. Okay. So I think that passion point, enthusiasm, uh, those are basically selling points for any job that you might get. People look at you and they'll say, well, okay, is this a person who could do the job? So you do have to pass that test. And if they don't think you can do it, then you stop right there. But a lot of people can do the job. Then the next question is, who's the person who really wants to do the job? And then that's often the differentiator. Okay. And the thing is this is a 90-hour week, 90-hour experience. I would say some people discover as they go through their internship, hey, this isn't really for me. But you want to walk out of it being able to point back and say, okay, wasn't for me, but I did quality work, and everybody who worked with me had a quality experience. And then, even if you move on to something else, you've got some supporters there who say, well, I worked with so-and-so on this and they were good. So this may be the end of my part of the presentation. Let's see, I'm going to click on the next slide. Oh my goodness, it is. And so I'm going to hand it over to Kylie Gilligan, AKA Digital Science, written up on her little video screen there. So Kylie, you take it away.
So I'm going to introduce two of our other field managers. So we have Eric Harp, who is a recent EMU grad who studied media and music management. And we also have Sam Kinsler, who is a current EMU senior studying marketing. So Sam, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself? You weren't a previous clinic intern, but since you've been such an integral part of the recruitment process, do you also want to share a little bit about what you're looking forward to this summer?
Yeah, thanks, Kylie. As Kylie mentioned, I'm Sam, and I am a senior this year at Eastern Michigan studying marketing. Before I got to Eastern, I was at Schoolcraft College, kind of doing associates in business and everything like that. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I'm very interested in horses and kind of went traveling to Tennessee, to Nashville, and working with horses, and later got a job at a horse pharmaceutical company doing sales and also marketing as well too. There I kind of figured out like, hey, I really do enjoy marketing and wanted to finish up my degree. And Eastern, I'm from Michigan, so Eastern was a great opportunity for me to kind of get back into the game and learn a little bit more of the interest I wanted. I am, and that's also there too, I am in Bud's classes, his Google classes. So he kind of prompted me to learn a little bit more about center digital engagement and offered me a job as a field manager too. So definitely thankful for that, and kind of great experience kind of being the behind the scenes aspect. I'm pretty much the person behind the emails and running the digital lives on our Facebook page too. So really happy to be a part of the team. I am looking forward for this year's clinic, just to kind of see like what new companies are going to come about and what kind of projects they're going to assign students in a time that we're all experiencing this year, with everything going to be a little bit more digital and stuff, just to kind of see what new challenges are coming.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then Eric, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you're most looking forward to.
Sure thing. Yeah, my name is Eric Harp. I just joined the field team as a field manager. Like I said, I just recently graduated from Eastern Michigan University. I actually got a degree in arts and entertainment management, but it's close enough to what's written there. And before that, I was from Washtenaw Community College, and like Sam, I got my associates in business. After Washtenaw, I knew I wanted to continue something in business, but I wanted to do something that I felt like I could be passionate about too, which is why I ended up choosing Eastern's degree there. And besides the field manager work, I work as a worship leader for a small church in Whitmore Lake, and continue doing that with the field manager job until we focus on the next steps after graduation. For the summer, what I'm most excited about is,
And
go ahead.
I just wanted to say, and we should mention, you are a co-host of Digital Live. So you and Sam are on there together. If anybody remembers Regis and Kathy Lee, it's sort of like the Regis and Kathy Lee show out of New York. So that's what we've got going on there.
Yeah, we'll be doing our test live tonight. Is that right after this event, or about 30 minutes after?
Yeah.
So
at 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah. So the summer, like Sam said, I'm excited to see the companies, but I'm also really excited to go through and see what kind of students with different experience and different backgrounds we have. As I've been working in outreach a lot for the field team, and it's really exciting getting to meet different groups and different different organizations with who have students of way different backgrounds that haven't interacted with the internship yet. So I'm really excited to see where we can spread.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Oh, I've got to click the slide.
So just to tell you guys a little bit about what a typical intern looks like, it's kind of hard to say typical intern just because we do have such a wide diversity of interns who are a part of our clinic. We are looking for those who are either in college or very newly graduated. And as we've mentioned, there's a very wide range of majors. Really, digital is such an umbrella term. We have people who are involved, with IT and computer science, and we have people on the flip side who do more communications and PR-based work. I myself was a clinic intern last year, and I'm a PR major. So there's a lot of great opportunities for people with a wide variety of backgrounds and majors. And because of that, we don't necessarily look for, an extensive work background. We really are looking for, as all the mentors had mentioned, people who are really looking to hit the ground running, who are passionate and motivated. And we also do typically look for some sort of applied coursework, just something that shows us that you can hit the ground running and that we can put you in with the company and you can lend your support and your expertise. And one of the main goals of the internship is to kind of cultivate our interns' professional development. And a big part of this is gaining confidence in the workplace. I myself, it was my first ever internship, so I really didn't have that sort of professional experience. I'd had, a lot of customer service jobs previously, but I had not worked in that kind of office environment, and it was new territory. I wasn't completely confident, but just working with the mentors and in my cohort group, I really, kind of developed and became more self-confident in myself and became more assertive in the workplace as well.
I do have to say, I'm kind of amazed every time I hear you say that, Kylie, because we don't necessarily perceive your lack of confidence. We always, interns tell us, and we get it when they tell us, but from our end, seem to be doing great. Okay. So next, Kylie.
Yes, so we have three previous interns with us today. We have Jamie Ferguson, who was a 2019 clinic intern and is a 2020 marketing grad who currently works for Domino's. We also have Kevin Hillman, who was a 2020 clinic intern and graduated in 2020 with a PR degree and is now working for Eastern in their professional programs and training department. And we also have John Rodriguez, who is also a 2020 clinic intern and who is expected to graduate this year with a degree in marketing. And he is a freelance extraordinaire. So Jamie, if you would like to start us off, just give us a little bit of an introduction and tell us kind of what you're up to these days.
Hey everyone, I'm Jamie Ferguson. I was a 2019 clinic intern and I worked for Passive Bolt, which is a smart lock company. And there I did a variety of projects, anything from market research to creating marketing materials. I did graduate in 2020, and right after graduation, I got a job at Domino's. I work as a field activation coordinator. So I work really closely with our field marketing consultants who work with our franchisees. So far it's been a really great opportunity and I'm loving my new role.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then Kevin, I'll pass it on to you if you want to give us a quick introduction and tell us what you're up to.
Sure, no problem. So my name is Kevin Hillman. I graduated from EMU in 2020 with a PR degree. I am working currently at Eastern Michigan University's Professional Programs and Training Department. We focus on providing professional development and continuing education courses for people that are already in their fields such as social work or OSHA. And I'm kind of the first person that's kind of in this digital marketing social media role. So it's really fun kind of building the social media presence like from the ground up. It's very, um, I like it to the things that I was doing while I was in the digital summer clinic. So I'm really excited to do it.
All right, great. Thank you. And then John, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm John Rodriguez. I'm still currently a student at EMU, and I was part of the internship clinic or the summer clinic last year, and I got assigned to the company Phoenix Performance Partners, which is a startup company. We basically help CEOs and superintendents kind of fix their organizations in terms of the way they run and manage the people that work for them. And I kind of went about it in a different way where I made like I was thinking, so I'm really into podcasts, right? And I figured, well, these people have great clients, like really clients that have a lot of wisdom in the business world. So I figured it'd be a great, opportunity to make a podcast for them so that they have the opportunity to, speak about their leadership and all those different kinds of things. So I think it's really important.
Uh-oh. John will hopefully come back. He seems to have winked out on us. So Kylie, just continue your discussion on. When John comes back, we'll bring him in.
All right, sounds good. Well, Jamie and John both kind of gave us an overview of what they did in the clinic. So Kevin, I'd love to hear what company you worked for and what kind of projects you were involved with.
Yeah, so I work with TechStak. And the type of projects that I was mostly involved with, we did a lot of building graphics. We did a lot of writing, maybe some social media copy. It was a lot of graphics for their marketing platform, which you're probably going to hear about, which you're going to be probably hearing about later. But me and my partner Giselle, we did a lot of just kind of work building out this marketing platform for TechStak, coming up with pricing, doing research on pricing, on kind of how they should market it to these IT professionals. And a lot of the work was just kind of building something from the ground up and just kind of taking direction that they gave us and taking the tips and hints that they had for us and just kind of bringing that to life. So a lot of it honestly was different pretty much every single day. I got to learn several technologies such as WordPress. I was using things like Canva. I was on the internet all the time doing research. So I was doing a lot of different tasks along with my partner.
All right, great, thank you. And then Jamie, I would love to hear more about how your experience in the clinic kind of helped shape you professionally, especially in your work with Domino's. What kind of skills you gained from the clinic that you're able to apply there?
Yeah, so like a lot of the mentors said, I'd say it's really a lot of the soft skills that I learned. I think working for a startup, you really have the opportunity to create your own opportunities and share your ideas. So I think in the role I have now, I have that confidence to come to my manager and see where I found a problem or have an idea that I want to work on. And I think without that experience, I wouldn't have the confidence to do that. So yeah, I'd say that's like the number one thing I took away from the clinic.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, confidence was a big thing for me as well. So I can definitely relate to that. And then Kevin, I would love to hear kind of how your experience shaped your current role with the EMU Professional Programs and Training Department.
I think once again, talking about those soft skills is really important. I think I learned how to communicate. I learned that communication is really key, especially when you're working in like a remote atmosphere, where you can't go down the hall, talk to somebody about a specific project. Being able to communicate through email or through any channels that you specifically communicate with is really a must. in addition to that, working with somebody else, working as a team, being able to communicate, okay, maybe if I need some help getting this project done, not being afraid to ask for help or not being afraid to ask questions is really important.
All right, perfect. And then it looks like John popped back in. So I have a quick question for John. Just as you are a current student, how has not only the clinic helped shape you professionally, but also academically? Has it offered any kind of skills that you're able to apply in class?
I feel like working for them or the clinic has really helped me kind of like, I don't know, not be as afraid to take risks in terms of asking questions as well, and just going about things with definitely a lot more confidence, like Bud said in the beginning.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
And I'm gonna interject here because Jamie worked for me and worked for the CDE. She was actually a field manager up through just about this time last year. And one of the things I was actually most impressed with her was that she did have a lot of confidence in I used her in a lot of public roles. That was back before you had to be on video for everything. You would actually go to events and talk with people, and had Jamie present at some events, and she did just great. And part of that, strangely enough, came back to her experience, I think, as a cheer coach. She put herself through college partly as a cheer coach. And she had to go out and sell her coaching services. She had to corral this group of parents and kids, keep the kids engaged, and then also interact with the parents, which is its own separate little set of things. And so I think she actually had skills there that she may not have realized were applicable in a professional setting, but which I suspect are serving her well even now. And I thought the big challenge for you, Jamie, was actually kind of taking this story of me as cheer coach, and then she'd actually even been a cheerleader on the EMU cheer team, and then taking other professional experiences that related to that and kind of morphing them into something that you could go to a Domino's and they'd say, "Oh yeah, we should hire her." And with Kylie had actually been a hostess at a restaurant and worked at her dad's dry cleaning business, and also in a customer service role. And so you learn how to deal with people. So these jobs you think you're doing to just put yourself through school, you're actually learning important life skills. And John, I is a student, and he was mentioning earlier he's really into podcasts and kind of convinced the company to get started with the podcast. Now, are you still working with Phoenix Performance Partners, John?
Yeah, they hired me.
There we go. Okay. And so sort of a kind of an entrepreneurial spirit there. And so that's just, didn't necessarily have professional experience before, got in here, got professional experience, and now we're able to start to tell a story about taking your past, what you thought were just, jobs you were doing to put yourself through school, tie them in with that professional experience story, and then move on to the next step. So Kylie, I'm going to hand it back to you.
All right, perfect. Well, I'd like to introduce our company today. Today we have two people from TechStak. We have Nicole, who's the founder and CEO, and Peta, who is the digital marketing strategist. So Nicole, if you want to give us a quick hello and tell us a little bit about TechStak.
Sure, thank you. Thanks, Kylie. And thank you, Bud, for inviting us to be able to join the panel today. Really appreciate it. It's great to see familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. So TechStak, we actually do two different things. TechStak was founded to match small and medium-sized businesses up to technology providers like IT, cybersecurity, website designers, data analytic companies, things like that. And when COVID hit, we needed to pivot, and it's not my favorite word, but we needed to do that and figure things out. And when we came out of COVID, like the whole lifting of the not being able to do anything, when we came out of that and everything being shut down, we needed a way to generate revenue and generate revenue fast. So we spun up the TechStak marketing services, and we did that within 8 weeks with the help, and I think Kevin downplayed his participation and the, just the impact that he had on TechStak in getting TechStak marketing services off the ground, so we could provide marketing services to those technology providers that are on our matchmaking platform, and also to those that are not on the matchmaking platform. So we have TechStak, the IT and small business matchmaking, and then we have TechStak marketing services for the IT providers. So that's what we do, those two different things.
All right, great, thank you. And then Peta, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do at TechStak.
Yep. Thank you, Kylie and Bud, for having us here. It's a pleasure, being on here today. So as the digital marketing strategist at TechStak, I've got my hands in all things marketing. So that includes anything from graphic design to copywriting, blogs, our email marketing, social media strategy, you name it, I do it. Or Nicole names it and I do it. So anything that you can think of, regarding digital marketing, that's what I've got my hands in. And, 100% agree with Nicole. Kevin and his group, when they joined, you definitely have downplayed, what it was that you helped us accomplish in that, 8-week time frame. It was a lot, but we had to do it. And, Kevin, and I think you, Kylie, can attest to this. As a small business, you're wearing a lot of hats and doing a lot of things and making decisions on the fly. And, you start with one plan and you realize it's not working. We don't have time to say, okay, let's just keep going. You gotta make a decision and move with it quickly.
Absolutely. And then Nicole, I would love to hear more about what a successful intern looks like, especially working in a small business such as TechStak.
Well, I mean, that's a loaded question. A lot of folks actually on the panel have just commented on just the characteristics and what they look for. A go-getter, somebody who can jump in. I recall at one moment, Kevin kind of put me on the spot and I didn't even have an answer for what he was asking me. And I was like, whoa, this guy knows his stuff, right? So having that confidence and, being willing to kind of put yourself out there, make yourself vulnerable. I think one of the things that is most important for interns is that you guys have the skills, right? You have these skills, and the businesses that you're going to be working with in this program, they want you. They want your skills. They need those, and they're learning from you just as much as you're learning from them. So I would encourage you as interns to think of it that way. It's a two-way street. So what does success look like? The intern, it's really going to be dependent on them and what they make out of it. So the opportunity is there. I would say just go after it. Bring your skills to the table and show what you can do.
Absolutely, that's great advice. And then we have a question here from Sam. She wants to know what benefits in participating with the Digital Summer Clinic have you seen for your company? And I'll throw that to either Nicole or Peta.
Can you repeat the question one more time for me, Kylie?
Sure. So you touched on it a little bit about kind of the benefits you see from having interns, but I think she's just looking for a little bit more detail of how having clinic interns have really benefited TechStak.
I can speak a little bit to that, and if you want to add, Nicole. So, as a small business, one of the big challenges we face is just limited resources. So that's time, that's money, that's, that's manpower. And so just having someone to assist with that challenge of, what we have to do on a day-to-day basis, week to week, month to month, having that additional help to be able to meet those challenges is, it's undescribable. And so, we talk about spinning up the marketing program in 8 weeks. That was a huge lift. It was developing a website. It was building out content, content that we had in our library, and building content from scratch. Those of you who have experience in design know just how time consuming that can be. And there's just not enough hours in the day. So having that help, really made spinning the marketing arm of TechStak up, having that help really made it possible. I think those are my two, biggest takeaways from having the interns be a part of TechStak. What about you, Nicole?
Yep, I absolutely agree 100%. It allows you to move faster, get things done. So you can delegate and get your projects to move forward, and with very focused and intention, which for me as the CEO lets me go focus on other things that need to be attended to as well, because I know the interns are jumping in with both feet. They got it, and they're going to come back and ask questions and ask for help. The other part of that is in that kind of that asking for help piece, and I think Kevin brought that up, and some other folks did too. I really enjoy working with interns and bringing them into the team, because it's a great opportunity to teach and to share the vision and share the goals and to help somebody learn. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the internship, I'm very confident that the interns that have worked with TechStak are going to be able to move on. Well, I wish they wouldn't, but they'll be able to move on and get good jobs. And I've heard a lot of the interns on the panel today say that, right? Like their internship was just instrumental in getting them to the next step, which is fantastic to hear. And that to me is that's a big takeaway for me, right? Like I want to know, like, wow, your internship was valuable and helped you get to the next step.
Yeah, one last thing that I would add too is just, that diversity in thinking and perspectives. And, Nicole and I work really well together, and we think along the same lines, but we want, that diversity to come in and challenge us and poke holes in some of our strategies and say, hey, maybe we could do it this way, or, maybe we can go a different route. So that diversity in thinking is also something that, that we appreciate from the interns, and, hoping, and we let the interns know right when they start, look, be vocal. We are open to new ideas, and, we're not going to pretend that we know everything. So we want to learn from you as well.
All right, that's great. I think it's so nice hearing kind of the company perspective, because as an intern, it can feel really daunting. So to kind of hear the opposite side of things and know that you, as well as all of the other companies involved, are really here to support the interns and want us to learn.
We do have, we're going to move on, but I want to get Patrick's Bedard's. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Patrick, last name. But he asked a question which I think is very relevant to this. And so, Nicole, I think this is really addressed to you, but what was TechStak like when it first started? And what's different now? Okay, because I think typically companies pivot a little bit, they change direction a little bit as they're starting up, and they start off doing one thing and then they evolve. So maybe you could give us a brief story of that.
Well, Yeah, the TechStak, I mean, we're smaller than we are even now. So we're, still a small and growing company, and we were had our matchmaking platform, and we were focused on that. And TechStak is self-funded, so self-funded startup. And from where we were at then, going from self-funded, no revenue, trying to get things off the ground, you're trying to do 10 million different things, needed to build a website, had worked with somebody who couldn't build a website but told you they could. So you make mistakes and stuff along the way, and then you try different things, and yeah, we had to pivot, and we had to drop some things, and we had to look at, okay, well, how are we going to survive? Like, what do we need to go do? And that's when we started to shift towards the marketing services. And in doing that, and again, this is why I say Kevin really downplayed what he said. We went from very little revenue generating to generating revenue, to having forecasting where we're going to be at the end of this year, which is really exciting, and just expanding our services, and just kind of running right straight into the fire, and not looking back. So going from this struggling startup to this like less struggling smaller company, if you will, and growing. So it's been a roller coaster, that's for sure.
Well, I think that's a great description, Nicole. Nicole and Peter, thank you very much. We are going to, I think you gave us a lot of food for thought. And as we close things out here, I just want to kind of hit on the main points. And we do have some other questions coming in, and we'll take some time once we're done with these. We'll take some time to answer your questions. And so 48 interns working with 24 high-tech companies. TechStak is representative of the smaller kinds of companies we work with. We also work with companies that may have as many as 20 employees, okay, so or even more than that. So it's not all super small, but I think the kind of challenges that Nicole and Peter were describing are the kinds of challenges that you'll find with all of the companies we work with. Again, $15.51 per hour, 9 weeks, 5 mentors. To find out more, digitalsummer.clinic and apply. Okay. We also have all of these events going on. So we're going to have our Digital Live every Thursday. They started February 18th. Again, we're transitioning hosts here with Sam and Eric taking over co-hosting roles. I sort of kicked this season off as host, and Sam and Eric are going to kind of come in there and take up the slack. We're going to have Jamie Ferguson on next week, and all sorts of questions about how she got to she is and the challenges she faced. And I'm sure to get in at least 1 or 2 teasing questions about being a cheer coach, even though she has actually recently retired from cheer coaching. And we did the virtual tour last Friday. Right now we're doing the information session. Our next big event, aside from the Digital Lives, is our Pinterest virtual tour with Jorel McCree. And strangely enough, Jorel works with another student, former student, not a student, but former, like way former student of mine, almost 20 years ago version of student of mine. And so that's going to be fun, and they're basically a virtual operation out here in the Detroit area, and so we're going to get to hear about that, and then well, we're on to Q&A. For some reason, the Q&A slide is not showing up here, but we did get some extra questions. Okay. And I'm going to throw this open to anybody. It's a question from Allison B. Okay. And Allison says, what advice would you give to future interns?
I have one really quick. If you're already thinking about joining or placing an application, don't hesitate. Go ahead and do it now because I think you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So if you heard about 20 to 30% of something that makes you feel like, I think this might be it, go ahead and apply. The worst thing that you can do is interview, get more information, and decline later. But I think you won't be disappointed.
I'll go. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, bud. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Kevin.
So for me, I think once again, what everyone else was saying is to dive in with both feet. Really take this experience and see how it can help you out in your career. But also really take advantage of connecting with other people in the cohort. I mean, I've connected with so many people that were in the cohort on LinkedIn, and we, talk to each other, message each other, and I get to see them grow in their careers. And that's really kind of like the essence of networking. It's kind of like a free networking experience to where you get to see professionals that are like you, or even if they aren't like you, they're in the same place and you get to kind of see them grow. And you never know where someone's going to be later in their career. So I think that's something that I would some advice I would give to interns.
And if I may add, Bud, first thing you would like to do is right away, brush your resume and apply. Don't even doubt yourself. Just go ahead and apply, and work on your CV, work on your interview skills. Once you get that stage, then come and talk to me. I'll give you more tips.
And I'll throw into that. I think attending events like this and asking questions can help you not only for this internship, but for virtually any internship that you're going to apply for. You get better with practice. Okay, so you apply for multiple ones. You talk with company representatives. You sort of learn what they respond to, and with Jamie Ferguson, I remember kind of seeing her hone in on what it was she wanted to do, and then kind of learning about the different players, and then figuring out who to connect with. And I made a few suggestions to her, and she said, "No, that's not really for me." Actually, one of them was at Domino's, but then she said, "Well, while I was looking on the website, I found this thing, and this thing is what she's doing right now." So, so I think that engagement, trying things out, diving in, and you know what? If you do an application and somebody makes you an offer, you don't got to take it. I mean, so the application is not like, oh, I applied, I've got to do it. It's sort of like I applied, and we'll see what happens. So don't be afraid to do that. And so that would be my personal advice. So I'm gonna count that one as answered, and I have a factual one from Patrick Beddard. When will interviews be conducted in May? So great question. So applications are open through April 30. Okay. And then shortly thereafter, we will complete application review. We'll figure out that slate of folks that we want to talk to, which I say is typically around 100, a little more often. And we will be sending out those invitations by the end of the first week of May. Okay, so think that, end of the first week of May would be kind of around May 8th or thereabouts. We will have all of that completed. And we're going to do them via Zoom, these interviews. And we'll have all of that completed before Memorial Day. And then we will have offers out by the 1st of June. So I realize that for some folks could perceive that as late in the process for whatever it is they're trying to do, but that's the time frame we can get to work with everything else. And we of course understand and we encourage you to take them if you get other opportunities. Okay. So if you have another great internship, go for it. But that's our time frame. So think interviews by that second week in May. Everything decided by the 1st of June. Okay. We have a question from Alessandra Castaneda. What kind of technical skills would improve my application? Oh, well, okay. She has 2 questions. I accidentally skipped down to the second one, but this is a great one. What kind of technical skills would improve my application? Okay, so strangely enough, list the skills that you have. So, and I bring this up. This is giving my favorite anecdote is we had a CEO coming to us like in the first year of the clinic, so way back in 2015. And he talked about the incredible contributions the student team had made to him. And this guy has a master's from U of M in engineering, and he has an MBA from the Ross School, and he's a startup founder, and he grew his company. I mean, he's a smart guy. And he said they did this thing called the content calendar. Okay, now you're all sitting there saying content calendar, that's something I did in my PR class or something else. And, it just sort of seemed like something you would learn directly out of high school. And, and so in talking about those technical skills, you have actually done things. And I think Nicole was making this point. You have done things that the person who is overseeing you, who is managing you, may not have actually heard about because it's just not their field. This CEO engineer, very engineering focused. His whole thing was engineering focused, and hadn't really sort of thought, well, I got to produce some content, but had no idea how to go about it. And they did a lot of blog posts. There's sort of an involved product, so having these blog posts and white papers would help explain it. So, list what you've got, and you would be amazed at how effective it can be. So maybe we'll close out with this question. We are running a bit over time, but we'll close out with this question. We still have some folks on board, though. We'll close out with this question, also from Alessandra. What's been your favorite memory of the internship and why? And you know what? We will we'll limit that to former interns. And so we'll start with none other than Kylie Gilligan, aka Digital Summer.
All right, great. So I think my favorite part of the Digital Summer Clinic were the cohort meetings. I know you mentioned earlier that seems to be kind of the fan favorite, but I really liked connecting with the other interns. And as I mentioned previously, just having the opportunity to work through any challenges or struggles I was facing while working within the clinic with the mentors and the other interns was really just a great asset. I learned a lot from everyone. And so I think, yeah, the cohort meetings and connecting with everyone else was my favorite memory.
We'll move on down to John Rodriguez.
Definitely, I really enjoyed the cohort meetings as well, because I feel like, for pretty much everyone, there's always that feeling that you think, you feel kind of alone and not knowing how to do something or, not understanding something. But the cohort meetings really help you, kind of relate to all the other students in it. And making the podcast, that was great.
And I think there's a key point. Yeah. See, I was hoping you'd throw that in there. He liked that professional fulfillment. And I do think this thing you're bringing up is, you're thrown in this sometimes micro company, and I'm trying to figure out what to do, and how do I move the ball forward? And I think the cohort meetings do help with that. So that's an important feature. Jamie Ferguson.
All right, so since my internship was in 2019, it was in person and a little different. But at the end of our cohort, we had a party and it was really fun. A lot of alumni came and all of the small startups. So there was just a lot of people to network with. And it was just a nice way to celebrate the end of the cohort. But hopefully we'll be able to bring that back sometime soon.
Oh yeah, we had a holiday party that year too. It was great. Both of you. Yeah, I was sort of hoping you would mention that. And you know, as soon as feasible, our plan is to bring that back. We thought that end of and we may be able to this year. You know, I don't want to get overheated here because you know, it sort of looks good, but you don't know if it's really going to be good. But we may be able to. And that would be great. So I absolutely agree with that. And that kind of picks up on the theme too of connecting with people. And Kevin.
Let's see. So for me, I think there are a lot of moments, a lot of high moments once again in the cohort meetings. But I think with my company, we had a project, a logic quiz that we were doing that we could just not figure out. And with the help of both Nicole, Peter, Giselle, and Eric, just the entire team there, I was able to actually figure that out. And sometimes it's really cool to see something that you help build be utilized on the website. I'm not be utilized on the website and just kind of be utilized in the business. And then I think the second part for me was even the last day. What both Nicole and Peter said to us really kind of was really strong, and they really when they thanked us for kind of all the help that we did, it really made me feel like I had a real impact there. And I think that's really, I think something that'll stay with me, like, you know, for the rest of my career. You know, wherever I go, am I having an impact?
Right. And I think that is actually a great answer to close on. Like to thank everybody for coming today and hanging in there with us. And if you're watching this post live, you know, feel free to connect up with us via email and our social media presence. So Kylie, I'll let you take us out.
Sure. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.